Now, American B-2 bombers were used in the strikes. He says all are now outside of the Iran airspace and safely on their way home.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
And the White House posting these photos of President Trump and other leaders in the Situation Room. CBS News is reporting Iran has pledged to retaliate if the U.S. joined the Israeli assault, which began with airstrikes on Iranian nuclear sites and military targets on June 13th. Now, Iran has responded with missile and drone attacks on Israeli cities. At first, the president said he'd wait 2 weeks to decide on a response, but instead, he gave the green light in just 2 days. UCLA history professor James Galvin says there's likely a reason.
Undoubtedly, what's happened over the last week or so is that Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, got on the phone with Donald Trump and said, look, you can make yourself a historic figure in the Middle East. You could resolve all these problems that we have in the Middle East by doing just this. And, you can go down in history that way.
U.S. citizens are now being evacuated from Israel with growing fears that the conflict could spread across the region. The president says we're going to learn more tomorrow when the Secretary of Defense delivers a briefing at the Pentagon on the strikes. Back to you.
All right, Lauren, thank you so much. Well, meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking a short time ago, congratulating President Trump for what he calls a bold decision to strike Iran.
History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace.
And Netanyahu also saying the U.S. acted with strength and says the people of Israel thank President Trump.
And we have reaction from Los Angeles Congressman Jimmy Gomez. He says the move by President Trump is unconstitutional, saying, quote, he chose to launch this strike on his own, knowing full well it could provoke retaliation and put American lives at risk. Now the American people and Congress are left to deal with the fallout of a reckless decision we had no role in.
Well, today, before the strikes were announced, protesters marching through the streets of downtown L.A., rallying against a U.S. war with Iran and calling for peace in the Middle East.
What the United States has done is attacked Iranian sovereignty and has basically said that they are starting war with Iran, trying to recklessly start a regional war within the area to continue destabilizing the region.
Stay with Kcal News and KCalNews.com for continuing coverage of the Israel-Iran conflict and the latest on U.S. airstrikes throughout the night.
And more breaking news tonight. Kcal over the scene of a shooting at a park in Compton at Segundo Boulevard and Compton Avenue. The LA County Sheriff's Department telling us there are multiple victims, but they have not confirmed any fatalities. Some of the victims were taken to the hospital. So far, no suspects.
The city of Pasadena canceled swim lessons and other programs at 3 parks today, citing fears over immigration raids.
KCal News reporter Zach Boeto explains what happened and the angry response from the community.
New cell phone video coming out of Pasadena shows federal agents Saturday morning apparently looking to arrest undocumented migrants in and around Villa Park.
Everything happened in seconds.
Just moments later, Sandra Garcia says her mom Carmen, who was selling tamales outside of the park, saw about 5 ICE agents pull up and arrest 4 men who tried to run when they noticed the federal authorities.
He tried getting into his car, but they came in and pulled it out as fast as they could, and then the other 2 men, they tried running out, but then they ran after them and they got him and they took him.
The National Day Laborer Organizing Network today condemning ICE's actions, claiming the men taken into custody are members of the working class, hard-working people, and were just out getting tamales. Meanwhile, Pasadena Mayor Victor Gordo saying this all happened just before youth soccer games were set to kick off, forcing the city to cancel swim lessons and park programs. The mayor also taking issue with the lack of identification from agents with weapons.
They pulled up and took individuals away at 7:30 a.m., the precise time that coaches and referees, parents were setting up and scheduled to set up the field for the kids to arrive. In terms of our police chief, our police department, our city, we're not being told a thing. And it's creating dangerous situations in neighborhoods.
Senator Sasha Renee Perez also on scene after the incident, adding a call for more transparency, as some in the community are now choosing not to leave their homes while others are carrying their U.S. passports for safety.
People are scared to go outside. They're scared to even enjoy themselves, and that includes American citizens. I've started carrying my passport on me. I'm a state senator. This has really caused a lot of trauma for everyone at a time when families, kids, people are supposed to be enjoying themselves, but nobody can do that because we're all panicked about what's going to happen next.
In Pasadena, I'm Zach Boetto, Kcal News.
Tonight, another protest near Dodger Stadium. Fans demanding the team do more in response to the immigration raids. The Dodgers have committed $1 million toward direct financial assistance for families of immigrants, but protesters say that's not enough. They want the Dodgers to take a harder stance against immigration enforcement. Many telling us they won't go to another game until the team steps up.
Senator Alex Padilla, meanwhile, responding to Vice President J.D. Vance today after the vice president referred to him as Jose Padilla.
Well, I was hoping Jose Padilla would be here to ask a question, but unfortunately, I guess he decided not to show up because there wasn't the theater.
But he's the vice president of the United States. You think he'd take the situation in Los Angeles more seriously? We got a lot of important work to do, but this is how the vice president chooses to act, and that says a lot.
Padilla also posted on X today saying the vice president, quote, should be focused on removing the thousands of unnecessary troops from the streets of L.A., not petty slights.
Now, today, L.A. Mayor Karen Bass discussing the city budget with neighborhood council leaders, and she says the immigration raids and protests are creating new economic challenges.
And our goal is to get to zero. You put in all that hard work, first time chairing the budget committee, and now topsy-turvy, especially with police overtime and also with the vandalism that happened downtown, more protests coming.
Well, Mayor Bass says layoffs were originally planned for 1,600 positions, but are now just 600. She says she's speaking to outside resources to help the city.
Yesterday, I was on a phone Zoom with over 20 foundations that are looking at how they can help the city, especially the immigrant population who is now afraid to leave home.
One project she is pushing for right now is Shine LA, which is looking to clean up parts of the city before the World Cup and the Olympics.
Now to the weather, we are tracking wind and fire danger.
Yeah, that's right. Meteorologist Danny Roberti tracking it all for us in our next weather 4D hemisphere. Yeah. Hemisphere.
Huntington Beach honored the late Brian Wilson today with a traditional surfer paddle out.